How do you see the organizational landscape of 2017 as compared to the organizational landscape of the last century?
You know, it's funny to talk about the last century, but I've lived now in 2 centuries. And I turn those who are
Me
watching
too.
this to think about having a life of living for making a better world, not just for a week or a summer, though that's important too. But how things have changed. First of all, there is just more going on and more variety of things going on more issues all at the same time. Just think back. I came to social change involvement during a civil rights movement, and there was a women's movement, an anti-war movement, a community organizing effort, public interest organizing. There was, while all of that work continued, there were emphases at any one period of time. Right now, everything is an emphasis, and everything has hundreds of thousands of people, perhaps millions of people, working on them all at the same time. And so we see a women's march with millions of people around the country. Even the science march. I'm told there were 40,000 people in DC on the science march. This weekend, there will be a climate march. There will be hundreds of thousands around the United States, perhaps millions, who will join in on that. And then on May 1st, there'll be an immigration march that may even be larger than that. And so each of these areas, the size, the scope, the intensity, the variety, and who's involved, young and old, of all races, of so many backgrounds, and people joining together. I also think the organizing's changed, of course, because now we have new technologies. What you, Aaron Friedman, do so well on the internet, even Skyping, these are new tools, and they strengthen the communications and the immediacy of response. But we still need some of the fundamental tools of connecting to people, person to person, one by one, and in groups where people actually get together. And then physically, we're on the ground, we show our support.
In saying that the ongoing work of many movements continued back in the last century, but at any given point there was perhaps a stronger focus on women's rights or Negro rights. It seems like you were saying that now and it seems I'm saying that there's a much greater competition for supporters of any given cause.
Well, you may see it as competition, and sometimes there's competition. Who gets the credit? Who gets the funding? And those are important issues.
That's not what I mean. That's not what I mean. What I mean is there are 1,440 minutes every day. Whether I listen to your message or whether I listen to Greenpeace's message, I get 1,440 minutes every day, the same amount of time that the cavemen had. So that there are, as you say, that there are all kinds of messages now screeching for our attention. Doesn't that make organizing any one of those more challenging?
It can, but there's also a coming together. And so we see, on campuses, they often call it intersectionality. And that also is increasing, really increasing in a real way. On the Women's March, people from a variety of backgrounds, Black, Latina, white, Muslim, people are coming together from different backgrounds and are joining together, yes, moving their own issues, but then finding times of joint impact. I just spoke to a group that's going to be announcing a resistance summer where many different parts can come together because we're all parts of the resistance. And then we need to move that resistance into elections. And one of the things election does is that even if you've got different issues, you can focus on the same candidate, either to expose how they're not responding or to support and promote where they are responding. And again, it's another way that the various issues come together.
It was certainly true of the Science March in Chicago, because there's a very bitter, angry feud that's been going on for a long time between the physicist and the biologist, and it's been bloody, and families have been separated. It's been terrible, but they all came together for this march. So I've seen it in action. So, but to your point, the 2016 Hillary Clinton presidential campaign certainly seemed a model of organization and focused effort. What happened?
Excellent question. For the answer, check out part 2 of my interview with Heather Booth, and don't forget to order your tickets for Heather Booth, Changing the World, May 19th and 20th at the Gene Siskel Film Center. Order now at siskelfilmcenter.org/Heather Booth. Be there or be square. But of course, I can do both.